Ask Reddit. Men of Reddit, what stupid thing happened while you were gawking at a girl? I was on a family skiing vacation in Norway when I was 13. I was cruising down the slopes when I see the most beautiful, perfect, start a war over her beautiful coming down the slopes beside me. I completely lose my composure and just stare. I stared all the way into the pine tree I didn't see rapidly approaching. No injuries, just the realization at the age of 13, beautiful women will be the end of me. Skiing down a mountain at 13 or 14, I barrel down and pull a sharp side-skidding stop to a halt at the top of another large hill. I figured I'd rest for a second, then turn and continue down. But as I was stopping, I caught a half of a second glance at this fantastically gorgeous blonde woman. And instead of stopping on the lip of the hill, I flipped over and ate dirt. I fell into a hole. Full story. I was working at Philmont for my second year. My department was setting up a staff event, and she was jogging the trail near the Frisbee golf course. We were walking kind of perpendicular and crossed the path behind her, and then I straight up Looney Tuned into a pit, complete with popping up afterwards with an, "I'm okay." I guess she had stopped when she heard the crack of the branch I fell on, so she saw my head pop up out of the hole and started giggling. She was stunning, and it was very hard to focus on work around her. The bruises were totally worth it. I was a venture scout that went to Philmont with my crew. There were 2 other teenage girls in my crew on that trip, and about halfway through, our group was running dangerously low on toilet paper. The boys in my crew were getting understandably nervous about this. The dehydrated trail food caused a lot of gas and encouraged us ladies to go to the next scout group over, strike up a conversation with the teenage boys, and somehow secure toilet paper. I honestly didn't think it would work, being a shy, insecure teenage girl myself. 20 minutes later, came back to our camp with rolls and rolls of toilet paper. Those boys were just so happy to see 3 teenage girls materialize out of those pine trees. I think they thought we were some kind of mirage. I forgot to spot my buddy in the gym and gave him a mouthful of testicles when I attempted to save him from his failed bench press. Legend has it after that day he never failed a rep again in his life. I was driving and gawking at a pretty girl jogging one time. A highway patrol officer was in front of me and another car in front of him. The car in front of him decides to turn left. While the car is waiting for oncoming traffic to pass so he can go, I'm staring wide-eyed at this girl, and the cop is a sitting duck in the road. I have no idea. I come down the hill at like 35 miles per hour and slam on the brakes only to stop like 3 inches from his rear bumper. My heart is pounding after what had just happened. I looked up at him, and he's looking at me in his mirror, shaking his finger back and forth. He was well aware of what I was doing. The reason he immediately did that is because he saw you almost hit him because he was gawking too. My friend was walking down the sidewalk with his hands in his pockets watching some girls sunbathing when he trips and lands right on his face. I usually cringe when I see people hurting themselves, but this time I just laughed out loud. I was like 11 riding my bike and saw a college girl jumping on a trampoline in her bikini. Slipped off the seat and crashed. Early warning system for lesbians too, it seems. I met a Russian exchange student with a face that looked like he'd gotten the bad end of a bar fight. I asked him what the other guy looked like, and he said, "Not guy, girl." Apparently, he'd been biking to work, gotten distracted by a girl, and ran face first into a lamppost. Was it worth it? Definitely. Like 20 years ago in Chicago, I saw something that seemed right out of a cartoon. A girl was walking down the street. Guy on bike was gawking at her. Bastard fell right over in the street. It was so funny to me at the time. I didn't realize stuff like that really happened. In high school, I walked into a door. Also, that panic when she sees you staring and then you quickly look away hoping she didn't, but she totally did. In high school, one of my friends managed to walk into the divider beam between 2 double doors because he was staring at a girl while we were walking out of the cafeteria. This one time, a topless chick on my campus was walking around holding a sign that said, #FreeTheNip. Due to the sheer shock given she was walking around the middle of campus, I got distracted and almost ran into a skateboarder who was also staring. Dude, did we go to school together? Skateboarder. First day on campus. Walk up to a building when I notice a ridiculously cute redhead is about 15 feet behind me. Play it cool. Hold the door for her so I can get a better look. She says, "Hey, Puggy Pug." Turns out she's a cousin I hadn't seen in 10 years. Sounds like a scene that would be on Arrested Development. Learning how to drive stick in my cousin's loud Jetta, and I'm stopped at a red light when a car pulls beside us, and two very attractive females in the car look over and smile at us. Then the light turns green, and I stall. Performance anxiety strikes at the worst time. I was coming out of a dentist appointment, gingivitis sucks, with my mom, and had to be given local anesthetics to soothe the pain down in my gums. So we're walking in downtown on our way to the car when this gorgeous redhead punkish girl, just my type, comes out of the local tattoo shop and passes next to me as she's exiting. We made eye contact and she even smiled at me. Thing is that with a mouthful of cotton and anesthetics and dumbfounded by this beautiful girl, I didn't notice that there was drool coming out of my mouth. So it dawned on me that she was only smiling because I looked like a effing drooling idiot. This gorgeous redhead punkish girl, just my type. I wonder if there is ever a time someone sees a 10 out of 10 alternative dressed girl with a choker and is like, nah, that's not for me. Stuck in traffic, girl next to me flips a dude off for being dumb. I laugh and smile at the scene. She sees me smile, she flips me off. I am sad. My gosh, please, the mental image of just smiling innocently and bam, middle finger, rout at you? LOL. Not me, but back in high school, I was on the load crew of the band truck. We were all loading instruments into the truck after the football game, so we had all stripped out of our uniforms. One cute girl on our crew had on tight shorts. The other team's band was walking past us to their bus. The cute girl bent over to pick up an instrument, and this drummer from the other band had his jaw open and was immediately in love. Bam! He tripped and face-planted the ground, and his nose started to bleed. The girl was clueless, but we were all dying once the kid was taken care of. And that's how I met your mother. I ran into a trash can while rounding a corner because turned my head to look at the ass of a girl who was walking by. Had a big yellow and purple bruise on my hip for weeks. No regrets though, that ass belonged in a museum. What is it about getting to look at a great ass or tits? I don't understand how my brain just wants to get as much time as possible to look at the same thing. I've seen it, I like it, but I just can't appreciate it and move on. I must see it for as long as possible. A female friend and I were going to lunch, and she was pouring her heart out about something really awful and intimate that had happened to her when she was young. As I pulled into a parking space, I saw a hot girl and my head reflectively snapped that direction. While my tearful friend was still in mid-sentence, I slammed my car really hard into the curb. "Seriously?" snarled my friend. "My brain and heart have your full attention, I promise." Not a man, but I fell down the stairs in a bar because I was busy watching a girl who just walked past me wearing next to nothing. Guys reading these is turning the whole thread into a montage in my head, and it's 10 out of 10. Extra points if you imagine the voice from the Wonder Years narrating them like letters written to OP. I once told a girl I met in a tourist beach town, Montanita, Ecuador, that I knew she had visited another random tourist beach town, Mancora, Peru, as me 5 years ago. I remembered her face shockingly enough to myself, just from simply seeing her one night out, and her face was so pretty that I remembered it. So when I somehow struck a conversation with her at a bar 5 years later, I stupidly brought that up within a minute. "Hey, this is crazy, and I just met you, but here is my number. By the way, I know where you traveled 5 summers ago." She obviously got creeped out. "I think you meant I once told a girl I met in a tourist town that I knew she had visited the same tourist town as me 5 years ago. But yeah, that's really one of those situations where your timing, phrasing, makes the difference in her being creeped out or not. I can see why she got creeped out. She actually came up to say hi. It was wild. That's insane. Don't tell me she was interested in you as a person, too. She was a gorgeous rep for skincare products in a mall during Christmas, which was totally deliberate, and without an ounce of tact, I slowed down and changed my course for her and slowly zombie in her direction. Since the initial eye contact, she had begun her sales pitch that I didn't hear a word of. I mindlessly listened to every word and even let her test some of the sea salt stuff on my hands for about 10 minutes. When it came time for the sale, things got awkward. So are you interested? I don't really use these products. Maybe a gift for your mother. I finished shopping for my mother. Girlfriend? I don't have one. A sister maybe? She lives in another province. Did you just stop because I'm a pretty girl? Nods head like an idiot. Hot girl slowly turns around and goes back to her station. Those skincare stalls are a scam. I listened to her pitch for a minute because I wanted a free sample. I asked how much a jar of that stuff cost. I can give you a special deal today. For you, only $200. I nearly laughed out loud. Driving along when this 10 out of 10 girl goes rollerblading down the street in the tiniest bikini top and short shorts. Keep in mind this is in a colder Canadian climate, so this is a super rare sight. Suddenly, she hits a bump and stumbles. 20 cars swerve all over the road as the guys oogling her all react like they are going to catch her or something. Thought I was going to die in a huge pileup.